Hello, guys. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. It's a beautiful day outside. Can anyone please let me know if my sound is working fine just before I keep going? Because sometimes my sound doesn't work the way which is expected. I'm just connecting this here, the computer. Let me see. Good morning, Camila. How are you doing? Are you doing well? Nice to have you here. And let me just go over here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's connect. So, guys, how are you guys doing today? Are you guys close? For those who live close to the sea, how is the view? I guess must be beautiful today to be close to the sea, enjoying there. Of course, keeping the 5 kilometers that we have too. So we have here my love Robertinha saying it's working. Thank you, Camilo, also for letting me know. We have Patricio here. Patrocínio, sorry. Morning, Patrocínio. How are you doing, man? Melissa is saying that it's working. Thanks, Melissa. Good morning, Elisângela Franco. Our loved Kaká here. Morning, Kaká. Thank you very much for letting me know, Patrocínio. Okay, guys. So since the sound is working well, we have our great friend here, Steven. So since the sound is working well, let me go back here because I have so many tabs open on my computer. There we are. Okay, guys. So before we start, I would like to invite you, for those who feel comfortable, to ask you to close your eyes to do our initial prayer. Okay? Let's take a deep breath. Let's try to forget about all the worries that we have outside, about all the troubles and problems that we may be facing. Let's try to forget, at least for now, all these things that may make our mind to fly away. Let's try to concentrate here in this 1 hour to try to learn a little bit more about the teachings of Spiritism, the teachings of the good spirits brought to us through Allan Kardec. May the mentors of the group of the Spirit Society of Ireland, the Irish Spiritists Federation, help us. May them help us to open our hearts and minds in order to clarify our thoughts in our daily lives. May them support us every day. So be it. Okay, guys. So we have here Ju. That's good. Nice to have Juliana here. Morning, Ju. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. Let me do share screen. There we are. There it is. Share. Okay. Let me see if it's sharing. No, it's not. Share screen. Okay, I got here. Can you? Okay. Now I have a problem with Google Chrome, guys. I had no idea. Just give me 1 second because it's not showing my screen. Oh, God. That's why I like Safari. Every time I have to use Google Chrome, it happens. Just give me 1 second, guys, please. It's gonna be really quick. Now I know how to do it. It's giving the steps right now. Sorry, guys, but as we say in Brazil, when everything is live, anything can happen. Sorry, I'm back, but my computer today decided to have its own life. So I guess let's just relax and keep going. Sorry about this. So finally, we have it here. Thanks, Internet, for teaching me how to do it. Okay, we have here Cynthia. Morning, Cynthia. Okay, guys. So today, guys, we're gonna be talking about the reincarnation planning, or the reincarnatory planning that we all went through from the spiritual world to here. Okay, we're gonna be using this as our basis here today. The Spirits book from Allan Kardec and the help of the spirits, chapter 6, Spirit Life, Reincarnation Planning. Okay, we have some works here of André Luiz and Emmanuel also to help us to go through. Okay, at the same time, guys, if you guys have any questions here, please, you guys can send them here in the comments box, and we're gonna try to go through them straight away. Okay, so nice to have Emma here. Good morning, man. How are you doing? So let's start, guys. Here in the Spirits book, this part, the spirits, they try to explain to Allan Kardec how is the reincarnatory process. What does the spirit go through once he's in the spiritual world and he has to come to the spiritual life? What are the sensations, the feeling, the phases which the spirit passes once he's in this stage that we call also erraticity? Okay, in the question 223, Kardec asks the spirits, does the soul reincarnate immediately after being separated from the body? So Kardec is asking a really simple question. So I die right now. Do I reincarnate straight away? And the spirits reply to Kardec, sometimes straight away, immediately, or more often it occurs after a longer, short intervals of time. Reincarnation is always almost immediate in higher worlds. So the spirit is saying to us that in more evolved places where high spirits they live, the reincarnatory process can be straight away or really after the death. Of course, remembering that also, according to Allan Kardec, death there is different than here. It's the end of the physical life, yes, but the sensations, the way in which they perceive death is completely different than we do. Just to clarify, corporeal matter is less dense there. In those words, and the spirit retains nearly full use of its faculties, spiritual faculties. While incarnated, its normal state is that it's like a lucid somnambulist. So Kardec, the spirit is saying to us that in these high evolved places, their spirit keeps more or less all the memories and the sensations from before. Okay, about high evolved spirits we are talking here. Okay, but once this transition happens, the spirit is like if it was in a somnambulist state. I hate these words, but in the more conscious one. So it's not like we do here. We have somnambulists who are somnambulists and they don't remember anything. No, it's like the spirit's like a more or less wake. It's like he knows what's going on with them. But of course, these are in more evolved worlds. Here on Earth is a bit different, okay? We're gonna see here, but as it says here, these incarnations, it will depend. Can be faster, can be longer, and also once you get the more scientific aspect, studying reincarnation nowadays, such as Dr. Dean Tucker, Ian Stevenson, forgot the name of the doctor in England. Really, really nice work. He talks about reincarnation also. Jim Tucker, especially, and Miss Stevenson, in their books, they say that the reincarnation process for those kids who claim to be remembering past lives is really fast. Okay? But of course, it's not a recipe cake here. This reincarnatory process is different to each spirit, to each level of moral evolution. And we're going to see that. And then Kardec asks, okay, but what happens with the soul while in between reincarnations? So what happens once I die until I have to wait for my next reincarnation? And the spirits explain that during this time, the spirit is basically waiting for it's a new reincarnation, even if he wants to reincarnate or not. When I say even if he wants to reincarnate, let's just make me clear, because the spirit cannot say, I'm not going to reincarnate forever. So the spirit cannot stop the process of reincarnations. But some spirits, according to their moral evolution and according to their history, because each spirit has a history, may choose to reincarnate faster or, sorry guys for the noise outside, so may choose to go to reincarnate faster or may take a bit longer there, okay? So doesn't have any kind of specific time for it, but soon or later, the spirit must, it's a must. The spirit must reincarnate, must live again using a physical body to keep its process. But of course, when we say it must reincarnate to keep his evolutional process, we have to understand that in more in more evolved globes, even the spirits, they are still reincarnating there to evolve. It's a completely different ball game, because there the spirit, the physical body, when the spirit's incarnated, their life, their physical life, it's longer. Their physical body is a little bit less dense than our body. The spirit has more choice because the spirit has more moral knowledge. So bigger the moral knowledge of the spirit, more he can choose. But the other spirits, similar to us here, we are there in the spiritual world, waiting for the opportunity, because we know that the only way for us to progress is through a corporeal life. And we're going to see that here. Okay? And okay, good. And Kardec, the spirits, they talk here about these transitional words. What are the transitional words? They're like more like, let's put it this way, really in a simple way. You are traveling, you are doing your journey, and then you must stop somewhere to sleep overnight to keep your journey the next day. And then, at the end of that day, you must sleep somewhere else also, like an Airbnb or a hotel or something like this. So these words for the spirit is a place where the spirit, they can rest once he discarnates, once he loses his corporeal life, waiting for the next reincarnation. But these transitional words are different, okay, guys? We're going to see that soon with the works of Emmanuel. And so everything depends according to the moral advancement of the spirit. So knowledge, moral knowledge, and is the kind of thermometer for the spirit advancement. So depending on how evolved is the spirit, he's going to be in one type of transitional words. Let's say in a 5-star hotel. Let's try to make simple like this. Depending on the spirit, he's going to be in a Airbnb or in a hostel. Here we can see that the currents or the thermometer for the spirit to be where he's going to be is his moral advantage. It's not money. It's not the riches that he had before on earth. Even knowledge is not 100%, because we have cases where the spirit is very intelligent, very clever, knows everything about science and about astronomy, but is still a spirit who uses all that knowledge to do bad things towards the others. So his moral level is here, but his knowledge related to life, related to matter and to science, for example, it's here. So moral knowledge is the most important aspect for these spirits, and where they're gonna go, where they're going to stay, or where they're gonna go. Let me see here. Okay, here, guys, just one thing, just a quick note here. Sometimes I like to read the entire question from Kardec and the entire answer. Sometimes to make it short and less complicated, I prefer to do like I did here. I took question 227 and question 230, and I kind of blend both replies. So I blend the idea for those who really want to read properly, like a word by word of this, what the Spirit said on Kardec. Please read our books. Try to read the Spirit's book. You guys can find that online. You guys can buy on Amazon. Soon, I hope that we're gonna be able to be selling some books, but I'm not gonna say anything about that right now. That is still a planning from our side. But let's keep going here. So here I have a blend of 2 replies of 2 questions. So the spirits, they say to Kardec that once the spirits are in the spiritual world, they are studying. They are trying to reflect in their previous reincarnations, in their previous existence, what they have done. They try to find new ways to progress. It's like this. Let's use the journey metaphor that we were using before, hotel and Airbnb and things like this. You are going on your journey, you are walking there, and once you reach the place that you're going to stay overnight, could be a 5-star hotel or could be an Airbnb, you start to think about what you did in that day, how you went on your journey, because your final destination is not that hotel, it's somewhere else, but you're reflecting. So once we die, or once we go to the spiritual world, it's the same. The spirit, of course, after passing this time of death, of the discarnation, where the spirit sometimes can be a bit lost, depending on the evolution of the spirit, or how attached he is to the matter, he can be a bit hungry, a bit angry with all these situations that he was living here. So he can become quite rebel. But we're not going to go through on this aspect today. But once the spirit is there and he's more aware of the situation, most of the time he's studying, he's trying to analyze and find ways to keep progressing his journey, okay, in order to go faster or to reach his goal in a better way possible, not hurting anyone else, depending on the experience of the spirit. Also, they exchange experience with more high evolved spirits. André Luiz explained to us quite a lot in his books that so many times he's in Astral City, or no solar, as we say, the spiritual colony that he was. But of course, in his books, he goes to different colonies. He doesn't stay only in no solar or Astral City. But he explains that while he was there, he used to go to speeches, to go to places to see, to learn from high evolved spirits, to learn with other spirits with different experience. And also he used to go to lower zones, to places where the spirits, they are suffering. They're still in that rebel stage. So seeing that spirits, and Luis could learn. And that's the same process here. The spirits, they learn, okay? They are learning with their own experiences. Guys, just 1 second here. I have a problem. Sorry, guys. I think Amazon got today is not really. Sorry, guys, but I think our bell just rang downstairs, so I think it's Amazon, and they come to deliver things here sometimes on Sunday. So apologies for interrupting here. Apologies. Okay, guys, so I'm going to try to go back here. So the spirits, they are there learning with other spirits, okay? So, and the spirits explain to us also that the spirits, once they are in the spiritual world, they are progressing, they are studying, but the only way of real progress, it's here on matter, not on earth. Because once we talk about the spiritual world, we cannot imagine that the spirit only comes to reincarnate on earth. And that sometimes people, they ask me that, Wanderlei, are we only reincarnating on earth? No, because in the Gospel according to Spiritism, and also in the Genesis, in the Spirit's book, the Spirits, they explain to us that the worlds, the stars, there are billions of planets around the universe, and these planets, they have life also. Of course, different life than us. We are not talking about the same type of life that we have right here, okay, guys? Just to clarify. So, once the spirit is in the spiritual world, he's learning to come to live in a corporeal life, and that corporeal life could be some other planet, some other globe, okay? But that's the only time that he really will progress. So once he's in the spiritual world, he's studying. Once he goes to earth, then he's gonna do his test, not final, depending on the spirit, final. But most of us, one test only, okay? He's gonna be doing a test. Okay, guys. In this book, which I really recommend everyone to read, called Renúncia in Portuguese, or Renunciation, by the spirit of Chico Xavier, by the spirit of Emmanuel with Chico Xavier. The spirit of Alcione she explains to us how is one of these transitional words, not how all of them are, and what are the sensations of some spirits they feel. Why I'm saying some spirits? Because as we said, if you are a more evolved spirit, you're not going to feel the same sensations which a lower spirit will feel in this transitional world, or once it comes to reincarnate, or once it discarnate. Because according to Kardec, the death of the physical body in the high evolved planets is different than Earth. The sensations are different. And just to clarify one thing, guys, yes, spirits in high evolved places, they not let me see. Spirits who are incarnated in high evolved places, they die also. Physical death is still there, because we are not talking about pure places, because there is a difference. Or you live in a high evolved spirit. If you are living in a high evolved spirit, you may be still experiencing reincarnation, because you are still progressing. So reincarnation is not only for us lower spirits and average spirit. No, it's also for high evolved spirits. And where Alcyone lives, it's the same. According to the book, she lives in Sirius, the star of Sirius. So there they face death in a completely different way. Okay, because there, according to the book, according to the works of Xavier, it's not a pure place yet. But as we said, in pure places where only pure spirits who have reached a really high level of evolution, high standard level of evolution, they don't face reincarnation anymore. So they don't go through to the sensations which I'm about to explain. I hope I'm not complicating, guys. But if I don't explain these things, someone may think that every time that we die, the sensations which I'm about to describe here are the same everywhere, and it's not. And they can believe that we only face death, we only face corporeal life here on Earth, and we don't. There are more places where the spirits they have their reincarnations. So in this book, she describes the reincarnatory process there as something quite painful. But why? Because the spirit who was there about to reincarnate, Pollux, was a spirit that knew Alcyone in a previous life that they used to live. And that spirit was in a kind of, not low, but he was in a median average level. Okay, so he was suffering some kind of pain in the reincarnatory process, and he describes this process almost like the sensations that we feel here once we are about to die. So he describes to be reborn again in his level, more or less as if he was describing death here on Earth. And that's quite interesting, at least to me, because we don't think that to be reborn can be painful. And the spirits, they say to us that depending on the level of the spirit, to be reborn again in a physical body can be quite painful. Of course, we are talking about spirits who are in a better place than us. Okay, so for them to come to here, to live on Earth again, is quite difficult. But of course, like Alcyone, she does that in this book. She comes to reincarnate on Earth again. It was quite difficult for her, but she came on a mission. It's different. She didn't come here to try to expiate anything from her past. She came in a mission. So she chose that mission actually in the book. I'm not going to say everything, otherwise you guys are not going to read the book. Please read it. It's a beautiful book. But she describes this process for Pollux as a quite painful process where he forgets things. So before he reincarnates, he starts to forget a lot of things. Then he comes to a physical body. But then here we have a connection, a beautiful link with the book Evolution in 2 Words of André Luiz, chapter 19. Here he's going to say a few things that Kardec said maybe in the time, this book I think is from 1960, something like this, 100 years before Kardec, okay? I mean, André Luiz is saying something which Kardec said before, 100 years before, but with a few extra details. So André Luiz, in the book Evolution in 2 Words, chapter 19, he explains The superior spirits can plan their next life by themselves. The physical body, their parents, and the life which they will possess. So André Luiz is saying to us what Kardec said before, that once you are in a more evolved stage, like Alcione, you can plan what you're going to be living. You can plan more or less everything. But of course, we are talking about spirits who are here, not about us who are here, guys. Okay, let's make that quite clear. So they can plan which parents they're going to have, where they're going to born. But someone may ask me, Vanderlei, they can plan, for example, to get rich, to be very beautiful, to be very successful. Yes, they can. But remember, we are talking about high evolved spirits. So if these spirits, they choose to be rich in the next life, or to be beautiful, to have a really nice life, they are not choosing only for their ego. That's their difference, and that's the difference between them and us. If they are choosing this, they choose that in a mission. Okay, so they choose that in order to do something good for a large group of people, not for themselves. Yes, lower spirits like us, when I mean lower, spirits who are still learning, because there is no such thing as an evil spirit, for example, or as a lower spirit, because we are not lower forever. We are progressing. Can we choose certain things? Of course we can choose. We're going to see that in the next slides. But everything that we're going to be choosing, we always must use to help the others. But because of our level of evolution is still here, in a lower stage, sometimes we don't do anything good for anyone, only for ourselves. Then we put ourselves in trouble. Where? With the law of action and reaction. But let's keep going here with André Luiz. André Luiz keeps going. The so-called low spirit, just one thing, guys, this red here, it's my, okay? That I wrote most of the humanity. It doesn't say that in the text. The so-called low spirits, so us, get into symbiosis or in a connection with the spirits that are incarnated on a female body and according to their vibration and spirit relationship. Then their next existence will be determined. So what André Luiz is saying to us, yes, while they are high evolved spirits, they can choose their parents, their place where they're going to be living, the type of life they're going to be having. Why? Because they are evolved spirits and they're going to help the others. Remember this, guys, please. But us, low spirits or average spirits, we don't choose 100%. We can say, let's say to our mentor, hey, I want to choose this, this, and that. And the good spirits, they're going to say, are you sure do you want to choose this? Because you have chosen that before. Are you sure that we see here in the book Renuncia, when this dialogue happens, when the Pollux wants to choose something for himself, and Alcione say, hey, take it easy. Don't try to put too much food on your plate. Are you sure you want to choose this? Can you manage this? Because Kardec explains to us that richness and physical beauty, sometimes we want to have that because we know that the spirit, the worth, the planet that we are living, guys, is still a planet related to our ego. So we want to be rich and beautiful to have less troubles on earth sometimes. But sometimes the spirit says to us, seeing who you are, the stage that you are, that may not be good for you. Sometimes they allow, but sometimes, most of the time, they're going to try to say to us, they're going to try to give some good advice to us. But André Luiz says here to us that there are spirits who cannot choose much, and these spirits, how do they know, or how is determined where they're going to be born? As it says here, there is a connection, a symbiosis with a woman, a female body, okay? And this symbiosis will happen in which way? According to their vibration and according to their relationship. So let's say here, for the women who are born here, your children, I cannot say for certainty, but using spiritual teachings, we can say that these children have some relationship with you from the past. And even if it doesn't have a relationship from previous reincarnations, because sometimes this happens, they have some connection, vibration connection with you. And that's how this symbiosis happens, or through past experience, or through vibration, or through syntony, okay? The physical body and general conditions will be according to their necessities of evolution that the spirit merits, and that's with the law of action and reaction. So that's what I was saying. Yes, we can choose certain things, but there are things that we want to choose that we cannot choose yet. There are things that we have chosen in the past. So our mentors, the good spirit, they said, okay, you want to choose to be rich? Go ahead. But we didn't use that richness in a good way. So in the next reincarnation, the spirit may not give that chance to us again because he knows that we failed using that. Because we failed, he's not going to give that to us yet, because the high spirits or our mentors, they can realize the stage that we are. And with Pollux, we have this beautiful dialogue, because the mentor of Alcyone says, I know Pollux wants to reincarnate and live this kind of life, but I don't think he will succeed yet. So a high mentor, a high evolved spirit could see that probably he wouldn't succeed, but still they gave the chance to him to reincarnate because probably he had some merits. Okay, I hope that makes sense, guys. Let me go here to the Spirit's book back again. Also, if you guys have any questions or any comments, guys, please write there. Please, if I forgot anything here, because I'm just getting some questions of the Spirit's book, of this part of the Spirit life. If I forgot to mention something, guys, please forgive me. But I'm choosing here to, I'm choosing these questions according to the way which I'm thinking and trying to elaborate here an idea. So here we have spirit perceptions, sensations, and suffering of the spirits. That's in the Spirit's book. In the question 237, the Spirit says, when the spirit returns to the spiritual world, it possesses the same perception that it had on earth, and even more, depending on their moral elevation. What does that mean, guys? Once we die, we don't become angels. Once we die, once we lose our physical body, we don't go to the spiritual world and become someone better than we were here on earth. Because if we still have that kind of hard feelings, if we still have that kind of vices on us, such as jealousy, pride, selfishness, or if you were still too connected with pleasures, with material pleasures, again, there is nothing wrong with them. Only oh God, I forgot the word. Only the excess of usage of the material pleasures are a problem to us, not the usage of them, because we need them. We need the material in order to progress, the material pleasures to progress. And we said about this once we were talking about sexual energy, but I'm not going to go through that again. And so we are trying to explain this because sometimes we think that, oh, that person was someone really mean in life, and now everyone goes to their funeral, and we have that in Brazil. And even the Spirit's book, I think the Spirits, they mentioned that when we say that, oh, that man was so good, so everyone in their funeral say that man was so good, but inside of themselves, they know that that man was a mean man. Of course, they're saying that because they try to be nice with their family, they try to be nice, with the spirit if they believe in something, but in fact, that person maybe was a really mean person, and that's okay, because we all were mean people before. We are still with plenty of vices. Of course, we are trying to progress, but we still have our vices. So the spirit goes back with the same perceptions that he had on earth. So if you are here on earth, someone who enjoyed, as I said, to be gossiping about people, once you go to the spiritual world, you want to do the same. Of course, there are not most, but some of us, once we discarnate, we realize what we did. Some of us, like Andre Luis, we still trying to be, trying to fight with ourselves, trying to say, I wasn't that person. We are still trying to hide our shadows. But once we admit that we were this mean person, perhaps, or we had that vices, we can start a new a new stage on our evolution, and then we start to progress. So basically, we realize what we were doing, and we keep going, okay? And the same happens with the inferior spirits. Once they go to the spiritual world, as I said, they're gonna put their vices even more outside, because there they don't have to please anyone. So if someone was really mean here in the spiritual world, that person will be even worse. Why? Because here in the spiritual world, he doesn't have to please anyone. There is no one watching them. I mean, spirits are everywhere, so they care less. But even these spirits, once they choose and want, they will progress. So just try and clarify. Once the spirit go back to the spiritual world, it brings all the sensations, good and bad. So if you are someone who enjoys reading here on earth, if you are someone who enjoys helping someone, if you are someone who enjoys listening to good music, keep your vibration up, in the spiritual world, you're going to do the same. So we do not change with this, in this transition between life and death, okay? Here in the question 258 in the Spirit's book, the Spirit explains to us that before taking a new corporeal existence, the Spirit chooses for himself the kind of trials he will undergo, and it's in the freedom of its free will, of this choice. So here, as we said, the Spirit, yes, he can choose, but André Luiz explains that this choice will depend on many variants, merits, on the need of the Spirit, of what the Spirit may be doing with what he wants to choose freely. And also, as we said, if he chose that same thing again, use his free will several times before, and the Spirit sees that he doesn't want to progress, they not allow him to choose anymore that. So then you may ask me, so is the Spirit losing its free will? No. But the spirits, they are acting like if they were their parents. They are saying to them, you want to choose the chocolate, but you don't want to stop eating chocolate. If I leave you alone, you're going to be eating chocolate every day, all the time. What does a good parent do? He stops giving too much chocolate to the child. He starts putting limits to that child. The same happens in the spiritual world. You are choosing, but you are not doing anything good. It doesn't mean that if you are choosing, you are doing your best, but you are failing. Do your best and fail, it's a part of the process. So if you are choosing something, if you are choosing the kind of trials that you want to go, that will go, if you are choosing everything for your, not everything, if you are choosing a lot of things for your next life, but you don't succeed 100%, the Spirit said, okay, he didn't succeed, he failed a little bit, but he did his best. He was trying. So in the next reincarnation, you're going to be choosing again. But of course, the spirits, they may lose their free will because of their abuse. Okay? Okay. So as we said, the choice will depend upon the stage of the evolution of the spirit, okay? Because God gave the full responsibility of the actions that we do and the consequence that it may arise from it. So you can choose, but everything which comes from your choice, it's gonna be on you also. God is good. He's allow you to choose and to do whatever you want. But God wants to teach us, or the good spirits, the name you, doesn't matter the name you give, they want us to choose wisely and use the things that we are choosing properly. So they are educating us, okay? So here in the question 259, you have to see one thing. Even if the Spirit made the choice of the kind of the future that, of the future life it will experience or matter, it cannot foresee everything that will happen with them. Okay, so guys, just one thing. Here I'm paraphrasing what Kardec said in the book. The Spirit said in the book to make it shorter. Okay, so again, please read the question 259 of the Spirit's book. What the spirits are saying to Kardec. Even if you choose the kind of trial that we're gonna go, we cannot really determine everything. Otherwise, we would have something called destiny. There is no such thing as called destiny. Destiny in a way that some people they perceive that everything is chosen before. that everything that you are living here is the choice of some being, higher being, or we may choose that before. That's called determinism, okay? There is no such thing as determinism in this life. Yes, we're gonna be choosing more or less the kind of choice that you are living, but as it says here, the details and result of this future life are the consequences of the general situation, which they have chosen according to their moral level, and often are the result of their own actions. So you chose everything, you go to reincarnate, and then you go back to the spiritual world, and you may say, you see, I came to this life, I was poor, I had a lot of troubles, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't really do everything which I wanted because my life was difficult. Because sometimes even the spirit, they forgot they chose that, but in the spiritual world, they will remember in their own time, of course. But it may say that everything was predetermined. And the spirits, they say no. Once the spirit goes back to the spiritual world, he will understand after a while, after a certain time of his or her discarnation, that everything, even if they chose certain things before, went over through their actions in that life. So let me give an example. I chose to be born, let's say, in a country where they have, war, and in order to perceive how to help the others, how to help strangers, or something like this. But once you are there, maybe you don't care anymore. You chose that life, but once you are there, you forget what you chose. And then someone said to me, Vanderlei, why do we forget things that we chose before? Because God wants us to perceive the choice that we made in our previous life, not in one day, but throughout reincarnation. So if you really want to do good in this life, even if you don't remember who you were before, which kind of trials you chose for yourself, if you are connected with good things, with good vibrations, and trying to live in the best way possible, this choice that you made, they will come into your life. Not like in the case of Chico Xavier, for example, as a very good medium, whom a spirit may come to him and say, you have chose this, this, and that. No, but in dreams, in experiences, we meet people which bring to us ideas that we start to say, wow, I like this idea. And without even realizing, you are accessing some memory of the spirit, remembering what you planned before. And that memory is not here in the brain, it's in the spirit. André Luiz explains to us that our brain is not where, and science, a few scientists, more open-minded scientists nowadays, they believe in the same what André Luiz said about 50 years ago. They believe that the conscience is not the brain itself. Conscience lives in the brain while we are alive. But once we die, our conscience goes to somewhere. They don't talk about reincarnation, some scientists, but some of them, they believe that this conscience goes somewhere. We talk about reincarnation in spiritual world. So we may be talking about more or less the same thing with different names. So this knowledge which we may be accessing through dreams, through inspiration from someone, through a book that we read, comes from our spiritual memory. Okay? So going back to the slide, because I go and I start to talk, we have to understand this. Everything which happens in our life, yes, we made certain choices before, not everything in some case. In other case, we made all the choices, okay, just to clarify, and this topic. But the life that we're going to go through is not determined for the choice that we made before. It's, in fact, determined for the actions that we do right now. So do not come to me again in the Spirit Center, because we have so many people coming to us in the Spirit Center once we're open, and they come to me, Vanderlei, I'm suffering this because in the previous life I was a very mean person, or I chose to have a difficult life, that's why I have this difficult life, or that's why I'm suffering this. And of course, I don't say to everyone, but for some people who I had some kind of intimacy, who I could be a bit more open, I would say, come on, You are suffering this right now because of what you are doing now, not because of something from the previous life. Of course, there are connections with previous life, but it's much more from the actions that we do right here. And we have this here in the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 5, item 4. When the spirits, they say to us, the vicissitudes of life are of two kinds. Or if you prefer, stem from different sources that are important to distinguish. Some have their cause in the present day life, while others arise from outside of this present life. And the other part of the text here, which I didn't add because it's quite long, the spirits, they start to say, how many of us are suffering right now because of our deeds, our yesterday deeds, for example? How many of us are suffering right now because of our excess, in our daily lives? How many of us have health problems now because of the excess that we are doing every day? I'm not be judging, but doing certain. We know that there are some good practices that we could do to make our life healthier. But some people, they don't do that, and they get at 50 years old and they have some heart problem. And in the spiritual world, they may say, oh, it was because of this and that. No, it's maybe because you had a really bad diet throughout your life. Okay, when I mean bad diet, I'm not saying let's eat like a bodybuilder. No, but let's try to eat healthier. I'm not saying we shouldn't drink. No, if you don't want to drink, good for you. But if you want to drink, try to drink, with moderation. Okay, so Spiritism does not judge what we do, but always teach us the middle way, like Buddhism does. If you want to do certain things, try to find some moderation. So in this part here, the spirits explain to us that a lot of suffering that we are having right now is because of the actions that we keep doing every day without realizing. And some of us, once we learn about Spiritism, we start to blame our previous life. We always say, now I know about Spiritism, now I know the Spirit's book, so everything is because of my previous life. No, it's not. Okay? And someone may ask me, Vanderlei, why are you talking here about reincarnation planning? And now, why are you talking about now the sufferings that we have in life? Because for us, middle spirits, average spirits, to not say low spirits, but we are average in general, according to the Spiritist teachings. Incarnation to us, it's more or less equals to suffer in some stage. What I'm trying to say is this. If you are incarnated here on earth on a physical body, more than likely you have some type of suffering. Okay, maybe you have a good life, but maybe once you pass away, you're gonna suffer. In some way you're gonna suffer. Okay, so our incarnation in this level, always we're gonna have difficult moments. We always gonna have some pain. But what we do with that pain, which implies to be incarnated, and as we said here before, we study in the spiritual world, but once we come to this life here right now, that's where we put everything into practice. That's where we see if we really want to be charitable. That's where we see if we want to really be nice with each other. That's where we say that we're gonna talk less gossipy. That's where we say we're going to be judging less the others who believe in a different religion or in a difficult political party or political ideology, doesn't matter. That's where we say, I'm going to be living, let's say, with flatmates and trying to be nicer with them, trying to respect their opinions. We say all this. Or where we say, as a man, I'm going to be reincarnating, I'm not going to be cheating on women anymore, or I'm not going to be killing anyone else. Any kind of things that sometimes people, they may hear what I'm saying and say, wow, he said this. But most of us, or we do or we did before in the past that vices. Because make no mistakes, I'm not speaking here in this live with angels. If there is any angel watching me here, please leave the room. You are in the wrong room, believe me. You are in the wrong planet. We are here average spirits. Why am I saying this? Because sometimes we judge someone else who perhaps stays on Facebook and keeps talking about political things there, or keep posting violent things. We say, that person is so mean, that person is like in a low level vibration of thinking. But what we do, we start to gossip about someone else, or at work we are acting like boss, we are like a general, or at home we become the generals, we become monsters with our partners. So we all act, we all still have some vices, and all are still doing something bad that sometimes others they judge because they don't have that anymore on them, and we still have, and vice versa. So there is no empathy, among us yet, 100%. But we are going there, guys. We are going there. But I'm just trying to say this because I'm not trying to judge or to point fingers. I'm trying to say that we all have some type of vices, different than each other, but we all have. And then we have a beautiful book by Leon Denis, After Death, that Leon Denis says to us, suffering, both physical and moral, is a necessary element of evolution, a powerful means of development and progress. It teaches us to know ourselves better, to master our passions, and to love others properly. So Leon Denis is saying to us, suffer is something good. I'm not saying that I wanted to suffer, but he's seen suffering here from a bigger picture, from outside, because he knows that in the level that we are, if we don't have certain challenges, if we don't have certain vicissitudes in our life, we're not going to give it the real value to things. We're not going to appreciate certain things. That's why we say normally that you must live in the winter to really appreciate the winter. You must live in the cold and dry place to appreciate a nice sunny day. You must live without much to appreciate a nice bowl of rice. You must be thirsty to appreciate a glass of water. So Leon Denis is saying to us that we don't know how to appreciate certain things yet. That's why suffering comes to us not as a punishment, but as a tool, as a way of learning. That's why it's a powerful means to develop and progress and to teach us to know ourselves. Because most of us, we only start to know ourselves through suffering. Because we start to realize that we are suffering, we start to realize that things are getting bad with us, then we start to rethink. Then we start to say, hey, why am I suffering? Why every time I go through a relationship, I find the same type of man or woman? Why? Why I always find this kind of people? Why each time I get a new job, I pass on to this? Why each time I live with a new flatmate, I'm having this kind of problem? Why? If you are not asking the why yet, and if you are only blaming the others, then you are in a big trouble. But good news, that trouble gonna pass. Because we are going to understand, we are going to realize. But some people, they don't care, they don't even ask the why of certain things. They don't really put themselves in the mode of reflection. And that's what Leon Denis is trying to bring to us, that suffering, if we reflect, it's a way to improve our knowledge of ourselves and to leave our passions behind. And of course, to learn to love the others more properly, or to have more empathy. Because sometimes we just start to appreciate someone else after we pass through what that person went. So we judge the others, but once we be in the same position of the others, we start to appreciate more. We start to see, hey, that person is nice because you went to a very similar situation to that person. And he keeps saying here, pain is the supreme purification, the school where one learns patience and resignation, as well as the austere duties. So Leon Denis is saying to us that this pain that we have through incarnation, these difficult times, it's kind of something which helps us to purify our spirit, okay? To learn resignation, as I said, empathy, patience, and all these difficulty, these austere duties that we have in life. It's not because God or the spiritual world are meaning with us. No, because they want us to learn. Faster we'll learn our lesson, we go away from this type of suffers. So faster you learn your lesson, you go to the next stage of school, of colleges. Sorry, guys. So it depends on us how we progress. It's a furnace that melts down selfishness and dissolves prideness. So what he's saying here, that the pain that we are suffering, as we said, it helps us to improve our personality if we are open to that. You know, if you really are kind of in this in this mode of trying to reconfigure how we see life. Once you are starting to do this pain starts. Why does it start to melt? Pain melts down selfish and dissolves pride, because we start to put ourselves in the position of the other. So once we put ourselves in the position of the other, we are less selfish, we are less prideful. So we start to see and to feel what the others are feeling, and that comes with pain. Once it happens with us, more than likely we're going to progress. Of course, there are still the rebel spirits. It's like in school. Even if the teacher says to us, Vanderlei, 1 + 1 is 2. I still keep inputting 3 there. I still keep inputting 4, not 2 at all. Maybe I'm just being a rebel kid. Maybe I'm just being a pride kid who believes that 1 + 1 is 3 or 4 or 5. Doesn't matter. So I can keep going this way, but not forever. Eventually, through pain, if not from our own choice, because we don't have to go through pain. So Leon Denis never said here that we all must go through pain. No, we don't have to go through pain if we choose wisely. But he's recognizing the level of spirits that we are. And in this level, more than likely, we're not going to really be doing the best choice. That's when pain comes to help us. And to finalize here, just before I say here, we have, sorry, Monica. Cynthia, our friend, said, you can't hide anything in the spiritual world. There is no way to lie. 100%. Here we can put our masks. Here you can say to someone else on the street, I'm not this, I'm not that. Or here I can come in front of a camera here and give a speech and say these things and do crap in my personal life. We all do that. But even if in the spiritual world we cannot hide anything, our vices, we cannot hide also the wish that we want to progress. So the spirits, they see everything that we are, but they see also the bad things and the good things. So once they see us, they say, okay, he's still doing this, he's still doing that, he's still making the same mistakes, but he's trying to improve. She's trying to improve. It's difficult, but let that spirit live 5, 6, 10 reincarnations, 100 reincarnations if necessary, but they will improve. So the spirits, they see everything, the good and the bad. And to finalize here, guys, I have this beautiful picture of this oyster and this pearl. Why I'm bringing this? For our non-Brazilian friends here, Amon, and I don't know who's not more Brazilian here. I think maybe only Amon, I think. But we have a saying in Portuguese which says that a happy oyster does not produce a pearl. What is this saying to us? That once we are in our comfort zone, once everything is really, really nice around us, more than likely we're not going to want to progress, because we are there in our comfort zone, everything is good. Then, as we were saying before with Leon Denis, sometimes pain comes into our lives to shake everything up, to say, hey, Vanderlei, come on, move on. You didn't come to your life here to just eat, to just have fun, to just enjoy. Yes, you are having this right now, but remember, you must progress. Do not forget what you promised before in the spiritual world. So they come to us this pain comes to us to remember us of our promises. We all made beautiful promises in the spiritual world. I'm 100% sure. And this pain, the same pain which this oyster is suffering here, brings the pain which this oyster is suffering here to generate a pearl brings something beautiful, which is this beautiful pearl here. So let's try to imagine our suffering as not something bad, but as something good in order to us to progress. Let's see the suffering that we have in life with different eyes. In the gospel according to Spiritism, they say to us that those who are suffering are purificating themselves. That's why Jesus said to us in the Sermon on the Mount, blessed are those who suffer. So was Jesus what? What's the name of the person who enjoys suffering? A sadomasochist? No, but Jesus was talking about this process. He's suffering now to purify himself. He's understanding. He or she is gaining more knowledge of its own existence overall. So this suffer will help that spirit. So that's what I'm trying to bring here today, guys. Trying to explain a little bit about how the reincarnation process occurs in the spiritual world. Of course, there are more variants on this process. Not all processes are the same, as we said before, and that all reincarnations are a gift to us in order to us to progress and keep purifying ourselves, keep purifying our vices, and also that pain is not something as bad as we think. It's not nice. I don't want to be suffering, guys, believe me. But once we see with the proper glass, once we see with the correct approach, it's gonna be less painful. So if I see pain if I see the pain that I'm suffering in a better approach, am I not gonna suffer? No, but that suffer. You're gonna be suffering with resignation. You're gonna be seeing that suffer as something, as a tool, as a lesson, not as something really bad, as a burden, as we see. So this knowledge does not make your suffer to go away. I wish that did, but it doesn't. But at least this knowledge makes us aware that this suffering is in order for us to progress. Let's never forget this, because everything that we learn in Spiritism is our lessons in order to understand more about ourselves and in order to progress. Samantha says here to us, a calm sea never made a skilled sailor. Very true, Samantha. Very true, yes. So if you are there, just, sailing in the nice sea, how come you're going to be a good captain? If you are just swimming in a nice, calm sea, how come can you be a really good swimmer? You need your challenge to progress, guys. But one thing to finalize, because we are running over time straight away, let's never forget that the pain and the suffer that we have, there are good spirits who are on our sides, who are inspiring us, saying to us, hold on one more day, hold on one more second, keep going. It's painful, yes, it's painful. But keep going. Your journey is your journey. Keep going, don't stop. It's difficult, it will pass. Because even in the biggest storm in the sea that we may see, we may face, in the next day, if not the next day, after 2 days, if not after 2 days, after 3 days, 1 week, 1 year, whatever, the sea will be calm and the sun will shine. So everything passes. That's what I'm trying to say. No suffering is forever, guys. Okay? Okay, guys, I spoke too much. I think I have to stop. So, guys, since there is no questions, thank you very much for everyone here. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, everyone, for being watching us here. Thank you, Stephen, Eamon. Thank you, Cristiane, Chris. Thanks, Karina. Thanks, everyone, guys, for being here with us today, guys. I really appreciate your time, and please forgive me if I forgot to mention anything properly from the spiritual world, from the spirit's book. But I prefer to have these slides and try to explaining in my own way. Please forgive me if not everyone is pleased with that, you know. Thank you, Cynthia. It's always a pleasure to be here with you also. I'm glad that you like to listen to our speeches. Okay, guys. Thank you, Rubens, also. So we're going to do our final prayer, and then we have some announcements. So for those who feel comfortable, again, let's close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath. Let's try to calm our sea. Let's try to calm our hearts. Let's try to say to ourselves that everything will pass. Let's try to say to ourselves that there are good spirits, there are beings who are supporting and watching us. Doesn't matter if you believe in spiritism or not. Doesn't matter what you follow. Doesn't matter what you believe or if you don't believe in anything. These good spirits, they still supporting us. Some of them call them angels. We call them our mentors. So let's ask the high spirits and our mentors to enlighten our mind, our hearts. Our week is just starting. We may be facing challenges with the COVID-19 still on this year. Here in Ireland, in Brazil, in America, in Italy, in Poland, everywhere around the world. Countries they are facing challenges. We all thought that by now COVID will be gone. But that's not the case. But let's not forget also that in the middle of this turmoil, of this hurricane, there are good spirits helping and supporting us. Let's thank the masters of the masters that we consider in Spiritism, our Master Jesus, who calmed down the sea once he was with the apostles in Galilee. Let's not forget that he's gonna calm our seas also, that he's gonna try to make his best to make this suffer that we may be having nowadays not to vanish, because that he can't. But he's gonna do his best in order to us to understand that all this suffer, it's only for us to progress, that he's acting like our old brother. So let's be thankful for everything good that we have, but let's not forget to be thankful for all the troubles that we have also, because they help us to progress. Thank God, and so be it. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thanks so much, Uju. Thanks so much, everyone. Rubens. Yeah, guys, enjoy the day. The sun seems to be gone, at least here in Bluebell, because we have beautiful sun. Now we have only gray clouds. What can you do? Let's keep enjoying, guys. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.